one.
Hello, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. We hope you've enjoyed Discoveries and Intism. Today we have a great webinar discussion for you, and I'm joined by two extremely experienced and knowledgeable colleagues. Firstly, I would like to introduce Paul Stolworthy. He's the Industry Account Manager for Commercial Applications. Afternoon, Paul.
Afternoon.
And then Gordon Turner, who's the Specification Consultant for our Projects business. Afternoon, Gordon.
Good afternoon, Elizabeth.
And myself, Elizabeth Briggs, who's the Category Manager who's responsible for sliding, room and building. So let's get started and discuss what the future holds for the commercial office. Feel free to add questions in the chat. Gordon, over to you.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. So the next 6 slides are based around the UK commercial sector. Now, at the end of this presentation, we'd be really interested to hear from our worldwide customers, what changes have you seen, especially within the leading financial sectors such as New York, Tokyo, Paris and Frankfurt. So London, since the 16th century, has been seen as a leading force in the commercial and financial sector. With a global connecting market, skilled talent and regulated by government support, the UK has been seen as a major global financial centre that offers the full package. The question is this about to change? With high rental costs, especially within the City of London and the Canary Wharf estate, large banks within the financial sector had already taken stock of their office space and decided to move their headquarters out of London. Recent examples of this is Santander moving to a purpose-built headquarters in Milton Keynes, and HSBC moving from Canary Wharf to Birmingham. With companies having to commit to long-term leases, it's created a market for flexible office space. This has become a growing trend with the likes of WeWork, Knight Frank and Regus furnishing several high-profile newly built offices such as Building 2 at South Bank Place, where they have taken all 17 floors of this building. They've also moved into floors on 18 to 20 at the prestigious 100 Bishopsgate developments, and they've taken 10 Devonshire Square, which Facebook currently occupies. Clients like the appeal of being able to have a base in the city, however, also like the thought of not being tied down to a long-term lease, and they can come and go as they please. Technology has changed the way we've worked. We've got the improvement of scope of working from home. Is there now a need to be in the office 5 days a week? It's safe to say that COVID-19 has accelerated the adoption of flexible working. Several lockdowns has forced many companies to work from home, even those that are reluctant to work anywhere but the office. The likes of Teams and Zoom has provided a platform where we can still attend meetings and go about our daily tasks. And we strongly believe that working from home, as well as other types of flexible working, such as staggered hours and working closer to home, will continue to form part of our working lives during 2021. Paul, I'm just wondering, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I do. I echo everything you said there, Gordon. But I think it's also worth pointing out that demand is still there, as we can clearly see. But what we have to be careful and mindful of is this demand that's passed over since before the pandemic. We all know that these commercial properties require long leases and pre-agreement before the building is sometimes even built. So it'll be interesting over the next 2 to 3 years whether that demand does start to tail off, as like you rightly said, people and companies are less likely to work in the big cities. So I think it's something to be mindful of before we go forward.
Excellent. So how has the market been impacted by the pandemic? So although not COVID-19 struck, application for planning permission for commercial towers over 20 floors within our capital actually grew. Developers understand that from planning application to handover on site, it can take up to 8 years. Average rent costs have remained the same and haven't had any decrease since 2007. Currently, there's a total available office supply of 11.3 million square feet in the UK regional office market. This is reflecting a 17% decrease since the end of 2019. However, of that, just over 3 million square foot is Grade A. reflecting a 4% decrease since the end of 2019. This is compared to the average annual take-up levels, this reflects only enough supply to meet the demand of 11 months of take-off, reflecting of a severe undersupply of Grade A office space. In some markets, the situation is even more severe. Birmingham, Bristol, Glasgow and Leeds all have less than 6 months of Grade A supply, which proves there's a demand or there's a need for the market. The strongest occupational and fundamental market at the moment is highlighted by the rental growth. Forecasts recently published by Realfor forecast that the strongest rental growth at an average is 1.3% per annum for the next 5 years. Elizabeth, just wondering if you've got any more stats.
Yeah, so just coming back to where we were talking about the home working. So obviously we're seeing the restrictions now starting to ease, but actually 77% of the employees say that a mix of the office-based and the remote is the best way forward, obviously post COVID-19. We've surveyed lots of consumers that have actually told us that they spend and will spend over half their week working from home in 2021, and that will probably continue. And actually 40% of the home working Brits are planning to create a dedicated office space in their property within the next 12 months. And that's actually equating to a potential spend of 700 million, which is, it's a lot of money. At Häfele, we offer a number of products to assist in these applications. In particular, we have our sliding door offering. Homeowners can petition off open plan kitchens or dining areas, for example, making an office space that's there, but it can be hidden away after 5:30. Sliding and pocket systems have an added space saving bonus as they take around 1,200 mil less operating space per door versus the traditional top hung door. So there's lots of advantages. And obviously at Häfele, we have a number of products that can help with not only the commercial, but the home office applications as well. All can be found on our website.
Excellent. So what does the future office look like? So commercial development pipeline hasn't stopped. So apologies. How has the market been impacted by the pandemic? Commercial development pipeline hasn't stopped. Even through the first lockdown, the construction market still ploughed through. Commercial tower blocks are still going ahead, buildings such as the 51-storey 8 Bishopsgate, Google headquarters, the Battersea developments, and recently the start of the Undershaft, which is going to be the tallest commercial building within the City of London. There's large fit-out projects going ahead, such as Netflix, Apple's headquarters at Battersea, TikTok and BP International. Barclays Bank have even stated that when the government encourages the return of the office, all personnel will be called back, and they are looking to commit to future office space. Certain developers, such as Canary Wharf, have broadened their portfolio and decided to move into the residential market. The Newfoundland Tower and the Woodwharf Estate are the first residential towers on the Canary Wharf. Although footfall in the City of London is much lower than normal, the outlook for the new office building in the city is remarkably positive at the moment, despite the likely increase of home working. The optimism is buoyed by a long-term shortage of supply, as well as the fight to quality by occupiers who wish to encourage staff to return to work in the office. As the dust settles after the pandemic, there is uncertainty about the future of demand of the office space, and only time will tell how much reduction there will be in the demand for space as a result of the post-COVID work patterns. But anyone building a tall building is pretty resilient and is in it for the long game. However, within the City of London, there is still uncertainty of obviously post-COVID and Brexit as a rebalancing of the UK economy.
I think also going on that point on the impact, I think we need to look further afield than the commercial sector in the office area. This is going to filter down to many markets. When you think of all the office workers that will go into a sandwich shop or into a bar in the evenings, with less football, naturally there's going to be less custom for these kinds of businesses. Even public transport, taxi drivers, there's going to be less business around. So although we're talking about the commercial space at the moment, it's going to have many ramifications if this trend does continue and the people travelling into these big cities and towns decreases. And also the impact on the manufacturers that we deal with. The type of furniture that they would be required to produce will change. The volume will change. So will that change? Will that impact their strategy and how they work going forward? And just on the whole, the wider economy will be hit by this if people spend less money in the cities and towns and preferring to stay at home to work. So yeah, it'd be an interesting couple of years, I think.
So obviously, touching on some more stats, Gwyn Richards, who leads the planning department in the City of London, he's actually stated, whilst the pandemic's ongoing, that he's had an uptake of planning applications. It's still a boom market, and there's plenty to be reviewed within the City of London. So hopefully, commercial towers and the commercial sector will be still thriving within the UK capital. And as you rightly say, the beneficiaries of that is obviously the other sectors. Obviously, say you've got residential around Canary Wharf estate, and then you've got the retail, and then obviously you've got the services sector, obviously the wine bars and like you say, public transport, which all thrives off people going into cities. So what does the future office look like? Although working from home has become the norm, it's having an effect on people's well-being. Let's face it, compared to an office, your kitchen table or your living room settee doesn't really cut it. I work in the specification market, and talking to young architects that don't have an home office, it's quite difficult. It's quite difficult to be sat at a kitchen table all day. They require A1 printers to obviously work with floor plans. They also require obviously need to see samples, so obviously on-site meetings and all that type of stuff. It's a long-winded process, obviously going through all the procedures, etc. They also look after clients who are solicitors and lawyers, and again, they're handling highly confidential, sensitive information. And again, yes, obviously computers and technology, obviously, can store all this information, but there's nothing better than having the office and the facilities to offer the confidentiality, etc. I mean, as a human race, we thrive to socialise. There's nothing better than feeling part of a team, a sense of belonging, having work collaboration with your colleagues to gain ideas and improve your efficiency and your productivity. We've now been working from home for over a year, and at present we are reluctant to use public transport. I mean, I've got a meeting next week down in London. It's my first one in a year, and I would usually catch the train, but like I say, I'm going to drive down because I know I've got to use the tube when I'm down there. But as I say, you've got this reluctancy. You haven't been out the office or into an office for some time, and so obviously the developers have got to look to encourage clients and end users back into the office. And the way they're doing that, I mentioned earlier that the rent hasn't dropped, but what they're doing is they're enticing the end user back with more perks. And what they're doing is by building these commercial towers, they're looking at the facilities that can complement their buildings. And what they're doing is, so say for instance, they're building a gymnasium on the ground floor with maybe a swimming pool facility, and they're offering the likes of yoga classes to help with well-being. And for those that are uncomfortable with using public transport, they're offering better bicycle facilities, parking bays, so that obviously people can use the bike to get into work, etc. And they're offering shower facilities, changing rooms, lockers for flexible working, etc. Better meeting points, breakout spaces and relaxation areas, etc. You touched on it before, there's wine bars nearby, retail amenities. They're building roof gardens to give you that outside space, etc., stuff like that. And what they are offering is flexibility. They're offering movable walls or movable partitions, so you can change the structure of a commercial floor. And some suppliers are even offering office pods. So you've got your own meeting pod with antimicrobial imongery and filtered air, and so it's got that sense of personal. And then what they're looking for is obviously well-being. They're looking to look after your health and your happiness, and offering plans. As I say, I mentioned yoga sessions, nutritional snacks, even sleep pods for your afternoon siesta.
I definitely think after COVID, it's definitely given people a different perspective, and I think a lot of this will be the future. This work, life balance. So for sure, I definitely see the way that the future offices will look completely different, for sure. But hopefully it will increase productivity. But yeah, there's nothing like being back in the office to really create that creativity, for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that the extra flexibility that, as this is shown to people, for people to have, where normally they would miss picking up the kids from school, for instance, or taking them to their after school clubs. I think it's proven that you can do both, and companies and people will need to adapt. We've seen changes that were afoot over the course of a longer period sped up, basically. So anything that could have happened in the next 5 or 6 years has been all squashed into the past 12 months.
Mm-hmm. The other big thing that we're seeing within the commercial sector is the commitment to carbon footprints. In June 2019, the UK became the first major economy in the world to pass net zero emission law. The aim is to bring all greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2050. This means 100% of building processes must operate at a net zero by 2050. An image there is of 100 Liverpool Street, which is in Broadgate in the City of London. And this is the first building to achieve full BREEAM, so it's a fully sustained building. Paul, have you got any obviously feedback on this from customers?
Yes, certainly.
Are they talking about net zero?
Yeah, so this is a question that we are getting asked directly a lot more from our manufacturing customers. It seems to be a more regular requirement when tendering for some of these big contracts, that they're after the sustainability of products, the level of recyclable material in the products, but also the country of origin. Like I think you've mentioned before, how far has a product travelled? All of a sudden, these questions are becoming more and more relevant.
Yeah.
And we're having to do some more work behind the scenes to be able to have this information readily available.
Also, from a new product introduction perspective as well, in the UK, we're really looking at the packaging of our products and obviously reducing that where we can, still ensuring that it, arrives, on time and, without any damages. But that's what we're doing as well. That's our commitment to the, to the carbon footprint at Häfele.
Mm-hmm. Which moves us on to our next slide. It's I mentioned this is a 9-floor fit out, which is taking part within London over the next few years. The next few months. Netflix is looking to amalgamate all their offices into one, and they're tripling the amount of West End space, office space that they've got. And the challenge they've given to the design team is they want everything to be recycled. So manufacturers are having to provide evidence of net carbon production. Obviously, like you say, Paul, the questions are being asked. They're being rated by architects and developers and ranked based on their carbon footprint. And it's like key questions are: where you source the materials for the product? What's the recycled contents? What's the distance of travel of the goods to sites? Are the goods coming into the country via ship or via air? And the most important, do you operate under ISO 14001? So workplaces are expected to boost their sustainability efforts, both through how an office is designed and how an office space is run. For example, partnerships with cycle to work scheme, obviously to prevent carbon emissions through public transport or your car, etc. Eco-friendly ways of disposing rubbish, water-saving bathroom fixtures, energy-efficient lighting. Obviously, only comes on when you're in the room, etc. And environmentally friendly cleaning products. And there's also, like I say, seasonal food offerings as well.
Okay, thanks, guys. So we've talked a lot here, with kind of statistics and information to you. We just wanted to take just a couple of minutes to go over from a products perspective, the types of products that you would expect to find in kind of commercial applications for home offices. Again, all of these products can be found on the Discoveries platform or on our Häfele website. But obviously we're talking about desking, movable walls, pivot sliding systems, pocket systems. We're talking about extendable workspaces that you can have on runners. Also, we surveyed quite a lot of people that said that lighting was really important within their office application. We have our Lux lighting. We also have obviously kind of USB pop-up chargers, for example. We have architectural hardware, so we can give you all your levers and hinges, for example. We also have Dialock, which is our access control system, and we have lots of new products coming through with acoustic ratings for them. So again, when you're in offices and you really need to kind of like down that soundproofing, especially as we're going into more like hot desking areas. So again, all of these products can be found on the platform and on the website.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. But as well as product, we at Häfele have also identified that we need to offer a service as well, or services. And amongst the services we offer, as you see on the screen there, is Häfele to Order. As this is a service that allows us to make a product bespoke to you. So, for example, cut to size lighting, made to measure desking, for instance, or made to measure ready to fit sliding door systems. Another service, as you see on the screen there, is 360 comprehensive project solutions. So what this allows us to do now is to really follow a project you may be involved with from start to finish, from its first discussions at architect level all the way through to manufacture and installation. So it's an area that we've worked on very much, and an area that we're proud of and fairly strong. So from Häfele's point of view, we can cover all bases. I don't know if you guys have got anything to add to that at all.
Yeah, I've just being part of the Projects 360 team. It's just elaborating on the service. We can assist contractors, architects, or even end users to, for instance, you talked about ironmongery earlier, Elizabeth. If a key principle of any ironmongery is an architectural ironmongery schedule, and we can help architects. We've developed that, or like I say, all we need is set of floor plans, and we can work and develop the specification, and it's the same goes for other services such as access control, the sliding door gear or movable walls. If you show us the opening and how you want to divide a particular office, we will work that around the information provided and provide you a solution. And as I say, we provide sliding door gear and movable wall systems which are acoustic rating. So yeah, it's we're here to offer our assistance.
Yeah, and I think when it gets down to the manufacturer stage, and a lot of these manufacturers and joiners will have a Häfele sales contact, and it's these guys that will be able to help them with the nitty-gritty of a project, with what products to use, if there's training needed, and extra services like that. So it's important.
Excellent.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys. So I believe we may have some questions, hopefully.
Yes, we've got about 4 or 5 here. I think you might have answered or touched on a couple, so I'm going to group a couple of them together. Do you ever see a full return to commercial offices? And if so, how will the layout of a typical office change to accommodate the new ways of working? Who'd like to pick that one up?
I'll kick off on that one. I believe that there won't be a full return, not the way we know it, to commercial offices. I think it all depends on the company in question. Depends on the market and whether they are able to offer a hybrid way of working and people can work from home. But I think on the whole, what we're seeing at the moment, the hybrid working is here to stay. I think the question is how we handle it. and then what will be the percentage of home and office work. I think that's the area to be ironed out. That's my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. Just touching on that, the second part of the question was how's the office going to change? It's all to do with flexibility. I really believe that the setup of a floor plan, offering a flexible working space from cellular offices which can be moved around or adapted to, etc. As I said, the suppliers out there which are offering office pods which are with purified air and as I say, antimicrobial ironmongery, which anything basically goes onto antimicrobial, especially copper surfaces, will die off in a couple of hours. So we all know that cross contamination is the leading factor for the spread of COVID. So there are solutions out there on the market which can give you the sense of security to go back to the office. But as Paul states, it's I think a full return could be several years off yet. I think flexible working patterns will certainly be key.
Yeah, and how the office looks, I think, will be a case of a shoe don't fit all, does it? It's going to be completely on the personal taste of the business, the people working, the location. So I don't think there'll be a generic office layout, so to speak.
No.
It'll all be very on a personal and individual bespoke way.
And we have a question here about what changes of Häfele planned for the future. I'm assuming that's office changes. I don't know about future ones, but I know all the changes that we've done to the building already. If someone wants to just flag that up.
Well, I've been into the office recently, and as I say, it's the usual COVID measures, isn't it? It's the temperature check, hand sanitizers, one-way systems. We even have to use our lanyard on the WC facilities to say that it's occupied and stuff like that. So there's all these safety measures which are in place. The floor that I work on, as I say, it's been petitioned off and set off. So you're not sitting next to anybody within 2 meters. You are encouraged to wear a mask while walking around, and as I say, you when you sat down, obviously it's fine to take it off. But yeah, all these safety facilities are in place. But again, it's flexible working. Again, we'll be interested to see if Häfele call us all back to the office at one point, or will be encouraged to as I say, to come in on certain days, just to have the meetings and continue to work from home as we have been doing for the last 12 months.
So we've got a couple of other questions through. The penultimate one would be, do you think large companies or companies in general will financially assist home workers to adapt their working spaces?
I think it probably will depend on the company. I've got various friends and family that are working for small, medium and large companies, and it's all varied. Some are assisting, some aren't. Some are quite fortunate to already have had a home working office. I think I think it will depend on the company. But again, there's different ways that you can obviously make flexible spaces at home. And obviously within our Häfele product range, we offer a good, better, best in most product ranges that we do. So it's fit for all kind of budgets, which is another a great thing for us. But yeah, from a Häfele perspective, that we're provided with all of the equipment that we need, which is great.
So Elizabeth, you've actually led us perfectly to the last question.
Okay, does that mean I have to answer it?
No. I think this is possibly aimed more at Gordon, but if I need some help with my commercial office tender, do you offer any assistance? Yes,
certainly. I've been with Häfele now for 18 months, and the way I communicate to my architects about what we do, the services that we do, is we architectural ironmongery. We, as I say, we can assist with developing stage 3 information up to stage 4, so that you have an architectural ironmongery schedule, which is then ready to go out to the project managers and the tender. That lends itself to access control and sliding door gear and the movable wall systems. If you need any assistance with electronics such as LED lighting or the Nimbus lights, we have a team behind us that can help you put the specification down. So we've got this information ready to send out to tender to electrical contractors as well. So yes, the projects team is here to support architects, customers, end users to select the correct products and to help you collaborate the information so you can send this all out to tender. Yes.
We actually have. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think it's important to point out that for first point of contact, always go to the website. Häfele.co.uk is a great tool that we use. All the contact details are on there. So yeah, please get in touch.
Yeah, and we've actually got an actual product pages that are specifically for projects as well. We've got some really nice case studies in there. We talk about, and there's lots of images to do with the movable walls that we do on our Slido range. So yeah, definitely visit the website and contact the projects department directly.
Excellent. We also have our own LinkedIn page as well set up now. So there's a lot of products and services that you'd be able to see on there. So yeah, if you check us out on LinkedIn.
Thank you, guys. That's really useful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.